Having the opportunity to open for Harry was very exciting. I've been singing his songs at the top of my lungs for a while now around the house. So to come full circle with being recording with him, and what a call to get, what an exciting moment. From the cover to the music, the lyrics, everything about it, it stands as what I feel is my most personal record to date. It's my dad and I on the cover, and from top to bottom, really, it is a reconnection. My dad has passed, and it's a conversation with my dad I always wanted to have. It has a significance to me, a special significance, and a personal connection, this record. Music has a way of communicating that is unique to the arts in that it comes with the delivery system of a melody. There's so much information, so fast, so furious from so many places in the modern age that music can still carry a message and still carry a spirit because music for me is meaning. As a fan of music, I've always found meaning through music. It's always been reaching for meaning, and music has brought so much meaning to my life. If I can bring even a splinter of that meaning to someone else through the music I make, I consider my work done. The approach and process in making this record was unique in that I played the majority of the instruments myself. I have a good number of guests as well, guest backing vocals, guest keyboards. One track even has a guest bass player, one track has a guest drummer. But for the most part, 90 to 95% of all the instruments I'm playing individually, and that's not out of ego, but out of hearing it. I heard the way this album was orchestrated in my head so vividly, and I grew up in a music store. I've had a music store in my family for 65 years out in Claremont in the Inland Empire in the 909. It's called the Folk Music Center and Museum. We're a certified museum as well. There are records, and back in the day, records and tape CDs, but it's musical instruments from all over the world, mainly acoustic musical instruments from all over the world. And we opened my great-grandparents opened it with my grandparents in 1958, and it's been family run for 65 years. My kids are the fifth generation to help run it. And it was a home to folk and blues, and everyone has been, I can name just a few people who have come through the doors: Jackson Browne, David Lindley, Leonard Cohen, Louis Myers from the Four Aces, Chicago blues legend, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee. It's been home to a lot of extraordinary artists. So I grew up a music store brat, and I learned how to play a lot of different instruments. And when I'm here, I don't always hear records as clearly as I heard this one, but I had a lot of time to meditate and think on this record coming out of the pandemic. And as I was writing the songs for this album, Bloodline Maintenance, I was also orchestrating production-wise. So I was not only while I was writing the songs, I was writing the parts. And they were so unorthodox that for me to translate what I was hearing to another musician would have almost been unfair. And because I can play the instruments, I just went straight towards it this time. Where oftentimes, because I love getting in a room with other players and walking out with something that I'm sonically proud of. But on this record, I just had to approach it differently and go towards it on my own. The songwriting process, how it comes together for me, traditionally has been lyrics, melody, or melody, lyrics, production, live performance. That's the order usually. And there's no set rules for me. Sometimes a melody inspires lyrics. Lyrics for me are very melodic. I hear melodies in words, in the rhythms in the words. Rhythms and melodies, I can hear words in. And words, I can hear rhythm and melody in. There's no rules for me which comes first. It could be one or the other. And that's the most exciting part is putting those together into something that complements silence. There wasn't one song on this record that went kicking and screaming. These songs felt like they wanted to be written. It felt like they were a natural extension of, it felt like I was writing a sonic autobiography, actually, in a way that others have not felt. Probably the centerpiece to the album is We Need to Talk About It, and Where Did We Go Wrong would be a close second. I would hope that people would take away a sense of artistry, perhaps, maybe something that they wouldn't have heard anywhere else. Maybe people who had never heard of me before would be intrigued by hearing the lap steel. I play lap steel guitar, and it's exciting to present that to young people for the first time. Maybe they're hearing that style of guitar playing for the first time. So that would be a wonderful thing. Having the opportunity to open for Harry was very exciting. There was the inherent challenge of how How do I present it? Band, no band. More than anything, I was honored to be there, honored to get the call. I'm such a huge fan of Harry, and he is songs first. The songs are exquisitely penned, Harry's work. And I was confident that if these kids are fans of the craft of songwriting, I felt that that would cross over, because Harry leads with incredible songs. That first of all, he would invite me to open is an immeasurable honor for me. With Jeremy and Kid Harpoon and Harry, their production is so pitch perfect that I didn't want to do anything to offset the exquisite production and presentation of Harry, his team, and his band. So I thought and hoped that presenting the songs to counterbalance that just in their raw form would be the best way. So I was up there for the most part by myself with a collection of guitars, and had my family with me to do one song. My daughter did a song of hers, which went over smashingly. I had a collective of background singers, had my band join me for the a cappella song, had guests, which, by the way, thank you, Harry, for letting me have the guests. My mom even joined me one night. She's an incredible vocalist, songwriter. I just trusted that if they're fans of Harry's, they're fans of songs, and just presented the songs in as humble a way as possible. And after the first night, I came off stage so high and so elated from the reaction and response. I figured it's either all downhill from here, or it's going to be the ride of my life for 15 more shows. And it's proven to be the ride of a lifetime. It was really special. And it was nerves. Nerves were a real factor to entering that arena. Getting up in front of 10 to 15 to 20,000 complete strangers, or people who are strangers to the music I make. It had been a while for that. I think the last time I did that was maybe opening for Pearl Jam. Working with Harry, there's an ease, there's a comfort that comes from within him, and his comfort and his confidence and clarity. So working with Harry in the studio was as much fun as you can have. You know, he reached out and said, you know, bring your hands and your guitar, you know, and can I get you into the studio to do some session playing on a specific song? I said, I'd love to. When and where? So I loaded in all my gear, guitars, lap steel guitars, different amplifiers. You never want to be without when you're in the studio. So I think I kind of overwhelmed the spot with gear just to make sure that I wouldn't be without something. I mean, his team they made me feel really at home, which was also really nice. It was just great, you know, because we're all music lovers and music heads, and we got to share stories and just have good laughs. A lot of laughter. You know, I've been singing his songs at the top of my lungs for a while now around the house. So to come full circle with recording with him, and what a call to get, you know, what an exciting moment. But then just as a person, he's just one of the most rare, generous, kind, and wonderful humans I've ever met. There's an artist named Amir Says Nothing. He's a hip hop artist. He's legit. He's my guy. And of course, my daughter's music, Harper. She just dropped her first single, Longest Apocalypse. And what else is new that I've been listening to? I got to check. I'm always, you know, on the hunt for. 1975. And by the way, I turned my kids on to 1975. They often, like my daughter turned me on to Ed Sheeran early. And I was excited to be able to turn my kids on to 1975.